Hey students, here's our last Hackwich for the tip calculator unit. This Hackwich is for modal segues. If you have not yet read the notes about modal segues, go ahead and do that quickly. It's a real short read on BB9 and then come on back to the video. Okay, so you are continuing on because you've read the quick little notes about modal segues. If you're like me, it didn't quite make complete sense when you were reading it. I need specific examples. So here we go. Modal segues are a simple way for you to interrupt the normal processes or the normal tasks of an app to bring in a new feature. Maybe you interrupt the app in order to make someone log into the program, or to ask them to sign up for, email subscription to your website or something like that. That's what a modal segue does. It just interrupts. It's kind of like a pop-up or a pop-up ad, something like that. So let's start in Xcode, and we're going to make a new project, and it's going to be a single application, single view application, and we're going to call it Modal Segues Demo. And I'm calling mine Modal Segues Demo 2. But you're going to do just Modal Segues Demo. And this is going to go on your desktop. Okay, and let's click on our main storyboard. Now, to start off, we're just going to collapse our outline, and I'm going to zoom out just a tad. Okay, so when we start these single view applications, we have just one view controller, but because we want to get fancy today and use modal segues, we're going to add a couple view controllers. So over in our object library, we're going to drag another view controller on right next to our main one, and then I'm going to move my screen up so I have some space here, and I'm going to drag another view controller here. Whoops. If you let go before moving it to the right space, just grab, I kind of call it the title bar, it's more like the navigation pane at the top, and move it over. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go in that order as well. So this first one we're going to stay as a view controller. The second one we're going to call second view controller. We want to assign a different class to it, not just the view controller class, but a new Swift file. Notice we only have one .swift file here that we can use for the view controllers. So let's go to File, New, and down to File. And we're going to do a Cocoa Touch class file. Click Next. We're going to call this one Second View Controller. So anything that's put in here is going to control this view controller only. And just double check it's in the right folder and click Create. Okay. Now, we can't forget to connect. Sometimes the view controllers move around when we go out of the screen. Okay, so we can still see this one's called view controller. So we have to connect this view controller to this .swift file. So with my view controller selected, I'm going to click on the ID inspector and click down on the class drop down and click second view controller. And when I click off of it now, click on a different one, notice it says second view controller. This one stayed view, this one is second. And we're going to add another view controller.swift file for this one up here. So go to File, New, File, and Cocoa Touch class is fine. This one's called Modal, M-O-D-A-L, view controller. Click Next, double check it's in the right file, click Create. Voila, there it is in our files pane. I want to go back to my main storyboard. I'm going to select this modal view controller at the top, and under my identity inspector, click on the class drop down and click modal view controller. So now when I click on a different view controller, this one says modal. Okay, so they all have their own Swift file now, which is really important. If you got lost, you need to rewind and watch that again and do it, because we're going to be putting different code in the different Swift files, and you want to make sure that you put the right ones in. Excuse me. Okie dokie, here we go. So on this modal view controller, we're going to add some buttons. we're going to go down to our object library and type in button. I still think of Willy Wonka. Button, button, who's got the button? Okay, double click on that button and we're going to call this current tint color. Current tint color. And you probably are like, can you zoom in? There we go. Okay, current tint color. Simple dimple. All right, let's add another button. And this one I'm going to make really big. We're going to add a color to this one. Okay, and this one's going to be called red. And you'll see why in a little bit. Let's go to our property inspector. We're going to change the text color to white. And I'm going to scroll down and our background color to red. Okay, I'm going to copy Control-C, Control-V to paste. Make things easy so that all the buttons are the right size. This one is going to be called purple. And of course we have to change the background color to a purple in our property inspector. Copy, paste, Control-C, Control-V. Okay, this one is going to be orange. And change that background color to orange. Okay. And I got it. I have it overlapping here, I guess. No, maybe not. Okay. Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. Okay. This one is going to be green. Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. You might have to click off of the button and click back on the button for the copy and paste to work. And this one's called done. And we're going to select that puppy and turn it to, you could do a gray, you could do a black. I'm going to do a dark gray. Okay, there we go. So I have my buttons. So this is a button. These are all buttons as well. And you'll see what we do with that in a little bit. The purpose of this app, let me tell you, is that we'll start with this view controller. There will be two buttons here. One goes to our second view controller. One goes to this modal. Then on this modal, we can click on these different buttons and this should change colors. So that's what we're doing. Kind of simulating if you're on the main screen of an app and you can click to the second screen of an app, but you could also click on a pop-up to make something else happens. That's what we're demonstrating. Okay, now we're going to go to our main view controller, which we have right here. It's just the regular view controller. And we're going to make another button anywhere in the middle or wherever. And we're going to, the title on this button is Show Second View Controller. And it doesn't have to be fancy. And we're also going to add a navigation button up here that is called color that will go to the modal. So in order to do that, we need to go to click on the view controller, go to editor, embed in. Oops, I clicked off of the view controller. When it has the blue border, it is selected, not when it turns gray. Okay, so editor, embed in, navigation controller. Voila. All right, so now our navigation controller is has started, and then we get this navigation pane up here. All you have to do is drag a button over to the navigation pane. I put mine on the right-hand side, and I'm going to double-click and call that color. And again, if I'm going too fast at any time, rewind, rewatch, and get it right. Okay, we're cruising. Next, we're going to the second view controller, here, right next door, and we're going to put a label here. Okay. And all it is going to say is second view controller, whoops, label. So that when we are switching between the view controllers, we know which controller we're on, and if you program it a certain way, the color of this label will change once we program the button. Okay, now let's do our coding. So First of all, we want this button, when we click on it, to go to this view controller. So I'm going to hold down Control, click and drag, and for this one, we want, we just want it to show. I think it's just show. And you'll notice the connection appears. If you click on this connection, you can see over here in the property inspector, the kind of segue is just a push. It just shows or pushes over to that one. However, we're going to click on the color button on our main view controller and click and drag it up. Oops, that didn't work. Click on the color button, Control drag it up to the modal. I don't know if I got that right. Yep. The modal view controller. So I Control drag, let go. And for this one, we want show. I think it's show. Hold on a second. Let me see. Display modally. What am I thinking? Present modally is the new term. Present modally. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we're going to add a button in here. So I'm going to shrink up my property inspector, and I'm going to go hold down Option, Modal View Controller. And we can get rid of a whole bunch of this stuff here. I'm going to delete everything between the class on line 11 and the comment on line 33. Clean it up. Okay, and then, oops, I'm going to hold down current tint color and drag it over, and we're going to call this an action, and it's color button on tap, and it is a button. Okay. And then we're also going to connect up all of the buttons for this. I know we've never done this way before, but what we're going to be putting in here is a function with a switch, and we have to make sure that these elements are also communicating with the code. So I just took our dot and I drug it and let go on each of the buttons that we created. Okay, so let's make our function. Inside of the button, you're going to press enter twice, and you are going to type FUNC space set color space parentheses color colon space UI color, close the parentheses, squiggly bracket, enter. Now, the code that I have written down has changed. What am I saying? With the newer Xcode, the code is a little different than what I have written down. So what I'm going to do is pull up on my screen the code that is current with our current version of Xcode, so that we don't have to fix a bunch of errors. So virtually, we're just going to be typing this code over here. So this might be easier for you anyway. Okay, so we've got our function. Whoops, add the C to function. Set color, see, we did something wrong already. We need an underscore space here. Okay, I did something wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. Okay, all right, so func space set color space parentheses underscore space color colon space UI color parentheses squiggly bracket. Right under that squiggly bracket, we're going to add this UI application shared keyword tint color code. Wouldn't expect you to understand or know what this is or memorize it, but know that you have it in this app for future reference in case you need it again. Okay, so it's basically saying we're going to be doing some colors. The switch is down here to change the colors, and then we're going to dismiss when we're done. So let's type it in, UI application. And you can use the autocomplete dot shared dot key window question mark dot tint color space equals space color, enter, self dot dismiss open parentheses animated colon space true, spell it right, comma space completion colon space nil. Oops. Okay. There we go. Okay. So that's the beginning where we're saying, hey, we're gonna have this function. We're gonna be clicking on different colors. You're gonna change the text to be that color. This text will change to be that color. And then when we're done, we're done. All right, now we have to put, after this squiggly bracket, enter twice. And we're gonna do our switch. So a switch allows you to do cases where you are going to be saying if this button is clicked, then show this color, this button, this color, etc. So switch, spell it right, space sender dot title label exclamation point dot text exclamation point open squiggly, enter, case space quotations red quotations space colon space set color parentheses UI color dot red, close your parentheses, enter. Here's case number 2, case space quotations purple quotations space colon space set color UI color dot purple close parentheses, enter. I'm just going to move this over just a little bit so you can see where the lines start and end on this sample over here. There we go. Yunk. Yunk. Okay. Case number 3, case space quotations orange quotation space colon space set color open parentheses UI color dot orange close parentheses, enter. Case space quotations green quotation space colon space set color open parentheses UI color dot green close parentheses, enter. And finally, when we're all done, it should dismiss the function default space colon space self dot dismiss parentheses animated colon space true comma space completion colon space nil close your parentheses. Okay, let's make sure we have the right number of ending squiggly brackets, and we do. Dun dun dun. We don't have any errors, just a suggestion. We're just going to ignore that for now, and let's try it out. Run in the simulator, cross our fingers it works. Just to point out while it's coming up, this little guy right here is really important because modal segues don't really have an automated or a free way to get back to the previous view. So always have to dismiss the modal in order for us to go back into the normal screen. And that will make it work. Okay, so click on this button, show second view controller. Sometimes you have to click on it twice to tell the simulator that, hey, I'm working with you now. Okay, and it goes to the second view controller. Click the back button. We have that nice navigation pane because we added the navigation controller. Now we're going to click on the color button. Beautiful. Our modal comes up. Quick little interruption. If we click on red, woo, it turns to red. Click on purple, turns to purple. Awesome. Notice how it changes the color and then it dismisses. The modal goes away. Beautiful. And that's it. So modal segues, the modal is this extra little interruption view controller, and the segue is how you get there. It's the method of getting to that modal. All right, if you got confused, watch it again, and we'll see you next time.